Okay, are you calling the meeting to order now?
Sure, 204.
Okay, so the meeting's called to order and present is Pam, Jermaine, and one member, Abramson, and one member of the public. Would you like to be named or?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. And then at the last meeting on May 5, you asked for a count of the billable customers, and it's 140. Now, if we were paying for 400 for over 10 years with no contract,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a big bite. Then we asked for copies of ordinances 86 and 130.
Mathematically, I look back, it looks like we're actually billing out for 225, and that was the same numbers that City had. So I don't know where the 140 came from. I haven't.
Okay, but no, before we got on the Sanitation Committee 2 years ago, they were billing for 440. And that's when.
Well, city's paperwork and everything on that, everything we were running off of looked like 225, so.
And
that's more accurate than
140.
Yeah.
Okay, and it says, we'll read and look at updates to send to ordinance committee. So we're going to look at ordinance 86, he's making a copy, and then if we have anything that doesn't make sense, then we'll ask the ordinance committee to review it. And we talked about spring and fall cleanups. How you worked at
Yeah,
that.
where were you at, Peggy? You should have been there.
If it wasn't my grandson's 4th birthday,
fine. I know,
I would have been.
I think
Yeah.
it was being our first one, and under the circumstances, I think it was fairly successful.
Yeah,
We
and
could
I
obviously
heard you
done
did a
more.
lot of work too.
Yeah, whenever you get to my spot,
Yep.
I'd get my spot out of the way and,
So,
Okay.
so now, what do you decide? Are we having petitions from the public at the beginning
At
or the
the
end?
beginning.
Try to do it again.
Not at all.
When you're done reading that, Peggy,
Yeah.
we'll-
Okay, so it says we talked about spring and fall cleanups and the way to offset the cost, and then question was why the DDA was getting money from the sanitation fund. And that's something we got to crunch numbers for. So that's sanitation. Let's see. I grabbed my packet from our council meeting, so yours is in there too, isn't it, for later, for the public buildings committee?
I didn't take it with me.
No, but when we went to our council meeting, we
Yeah.
got one, so
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
yeah.
in here. Okay. So it says we're reviewing 86 and 132, but
This
it's,
is sanitation, right?
yes,
That's what I thought.
yeah,
We're ahead of that then, Peg?
no. So I'm on the street, the one I got up here.
So you're the head, Jim, aren't you?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so garbage, when it says we're gonna review 131, didn't it say 131?
132.
Okay, this is 132, and let's look at 132 while he's doing 86,
Okay.
because I went through and it was
Okay,
just.
are we done? We're done with the minutes from last?
From your left.
Sure. I think before we do,
Sure.
just we let the
You
public.
could just say in your minutes, did we refresh
That's what I said, we read the minutes from
ourselves
last
so
meeting.
to
Okay.
reorient ourselves for this meeting, so then we have the petitions.
so we're good now?
Yep,
You're good.
Cool.
thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Jim Kent's assessment. First time, not so bad. Our street department obviously does not have the equipment to handle the brush and the trash. I kind of watched and observed the cleanup. They need a small flatbed trailer. They need to utilize their dump trucks. They were taking half pickup loads to the dump. They hired 2 extra guys to watch the loader basically play with the trash for 38 minutes without putting a single load into the truck. We have 2 dump trucks. We should have filled them both and been gone. You know, the time that it takes to do that cleanup, I'm not trying to, I mean, don't know much about snow removal, but when it comes to picking up trash and construction, 30 years plus experience, and they drop the ball big time. now I understand why so much is being charged to the sanitation fund for spring and fall cleanup when we don't ever see it. You know, you can't take a half truckload of brush to the pile and then come back with 3 people in the truck and expect to have any cost efficiency. Also, some good news, Joe Snow is enforcing our garbage ordinance. I informed him, and I'm informing the committee, and I'll inform the council at the next meeting as well, that I am opting out of the garbage program. I no longer will use the garbage services, and I will no longer pay for the garbage services. This, according to Joe Snow, is just not going to happen. It's not going to be allowed, although it's been allowed to many other residents in the village. So that's going to take us one step closer to going to court. You know, I just suggest that we go directly to the ordinance committee and get a new ordinance made right away, because if you hold me responsible for back garbage bills, you're going to have to hold the other 400 responsible for back garbage bills.
You haven't
And
paid
if-
garbage bills?
No, I pay my garbage bills. I'm $104 behind, but that's not the point. I'm stopping my garbage because I only take 2 bags every 2 weeks.
Well, a lot of people do
Well,
that.
can I talk, Sharon? You have to let me finish. This is my time. You have your time. I'd be quiet the whole time you're talking. I would
Now you know
appreciate
what
it.
it feels like.
No, well, if you go back
Okay.
through the video, Sharon, you interrupt almost as much as Virginia.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you want to get personal, we can
No,
do
no.
so. Well, then drop it.
Well, then
Okay,
shut up.
I don't have to shut up. This is called freedom of speech. This is what makes you a terrible trustee. This is
Thank
makes you
you.
ignorant of the
Thank you.
ordinances.
Thank
You know, oh, you're welcome, Sharon, and I'm just getting started with
I
you.
love you too, Nate.
Yeah, well, I hope you took your meds today, because
I love you
when
too.
she gets done, Jim, can I go ahead and finish?
Let me finish, Nate.
Is she done? You
We've
gonna
got-
allow her to interrupt me, Jim? This is your
I'm not
committee.
talking to the peanut gallery.
Go ahead, Nate, finish.
Okay, all right. What's gonna happen is this is gonna go to court eventually, just like it did with Mary Lewis, all right? The difference is Mary Lewis did not seek attorney fees. My attorney fees, when this goes to court, the village is gonna be responsible for, because I am going to win, without a doubt. You can't enforce an ordinance on one and not on the others, especially when it comes to the sanitation ordinance. This is serious stuff. 2 of you will understand the seriousness of this. The other one is probably be lost. You know, we need to get this ordinance done now, or it's going to cost the village money.
Speculation.
You know, interruption.
Okay, wait a minute. So, did you send a written letter saying that you will not use the service?
I've done so on camera here and on camera in there, and Michigan law, my word to you 2 here in a public meeting is good. You know, if you guys want to pursue it, you want to let it go further, you can let it go further. We can let it go to court.
You to just say as of June 9,
Right.
you're discontinuing garbage service.
The reason why I
You
did
can
it
show-
orally, Peggy, is because there is no record of people opting out of the service, as I was told. Okay? There are people allowed not to pay their trash bills, and have been allowed for several years not to pay their trash bills. They put their trash out, they get it picked up, and our sanitation fund has gone downhill. You know, it needs a total revamp. There are no licensed contractors to pick up trash, so everybody picking up trash in the village is doing it illegally, according to our ordinance. If we don't redo this, you know, I mean, it's been 6 months since the election, and not one thing has been done regarding this ordinance, and that is sickening. You know, nothing personal, everybody's got their time and everything, but it's obvious this ordinance has to be rewritten, and something has to be done about the people that owe trash money and the people that have been doing it originally. You know, she asked me a question. You can time me all I want, but as long as she's talking to me,
5 minutes,
no, as long as she's talking to me, I can respond to her questions. She's recognizing a member of the public. You should school yourself on parliamentary procedure before running your fat lip.
I love you too, Nate.
No personal attacks, because then we're not.
That's why
Her interrupting me is a personal attack. She's disrupting this meeting.
Okay.
She's guilty of.
Let's go on here.
Are you saying see, I'm looking at ordinance 132, and I was gonna bring this up at the meeting, because it does say no person shall operate a garbage collection or removal service as a business within the village unless the person first acquired and thereafter maintains in effect and renews annually a garbage collector's license from the village garbage administrator. This is page 3 of ordinance 132, and I don't know who our garbage administrator is.
Joe Snow, it says it on the letter he gave me. He's the administrator, that's
He's
his
the
thing.
garbage administrator? Okay, but we don't have waste management get a license every year, do we? I mean,
We didn't
That's
check
not
it.
where-
We
No one is
didn't
a
check it
license.
with
I
the
mean,
bylaw.
I don't know, we're gonna have to work with the ordinance committee too, because both are out of, and then it says all persons within the village, with the exception of medium and large commercial users, shall be required to use and pay for the village mandated garbage collection, removal and disposal services. Now, about, 10 years ago, when Mary Lewis had a problem, it was because garbage is a service. If you don't want a service, you don't have to take it. And that's why she has never used
Yeah,
and never paid.
yeah.
But we still send her quarterly certified letters saying, we're gonna stop your service if you don't pay. Well, that's what she wanted for the last 15 years,
Yeah,
so
that's what
we
she
shouldn't be
wanted.
wasting our money sending certified
No.
letters
No.
to people. But
Right.
either everyone pays or nobody has to. And your point, Nate, was very well taken. We've got to find out who the users are and either decide everybody pays or we get bags and
Yeah.
at the store and people pay by the bag and it's fair and equitable to everybody,
Can I respond to that, Peggy?
if you would.
Since March of last year, I've attended sanitation meetings, and the same thing has been brought up. We need to find this out. Find it out. Find it out. Ask Joe. It shouldn't be that hard to produce. It really isn't. And until you get the numbers, you're not going to know how to draft a new ordinance. But in the meantime, do the right thing and repeal this ordinance. It doesn't affect the garbage service whatsoever. It just repeals the ordinance.
Well,
Yeah.
as one individual that has seen people say go to the bags, people say some pay, some don't pay, it's fair, somebody has 8 bags and they get theirs, and a little old lady has 1 bag and that's not fair, and that I really think our committee should explore getting out of the garbage business completely and telling waste management they can bill direct, because if you look at how much of our administrators' time is going to billing, and why are we in sanitation?
be-
Because we
yeah.
think people are gonna throw their garbage around town? Well, we have a blight ordinance now, so
Yeah.
they wouldn't be able to.
We should be able to choose our own pickup. You know,
Yeah.
if we so require.
I know we have property in Keweenaw County, and
Yeah.
we had to sign a form saying we will not use at Keweenaw County, and if we're caught, there's a huge fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's fair. If you say you won't use, then you don't use. So what does the committee as a whole think of just letting waste management do their own billing and collecting, and then we don't have to count the houses and who's not paying, and trying to put a tax lien when the Houghton County treasurer won't enforce it because it's a service, and so she's not gonna foreclose on house for garbage or snow arrears. So where are we at?
I think the ordinance is one thing and the billing is another, and then we also have the part on our taxes. We have to look at 3 different things. I think we should just, I mean, if we're gonna do it, I'm 100%. I think we should let the residents pick and choose and do their own. There are so many apartment places and all that have the dumpsters, they opt out of it, so to speak, they don't, but they still.
They shouldn't be opting out. They shouldn't be opting out. They're not commercial users, they're residential users.
Okay.
And that's a lot of money. 1 bag a week, $12 a month per resident adds up. And then,
Well,
you know,
it's-
the
it's-
sad part about that is most of it's within the DDA, and the DDA takes a huge chunk of our sanitation money from us, so we're basically subsidizing their garbage.
The numbers I looked at, obviously the sanitation is not supposed to make money as an entity. And what we're getting billed, we think is exorbitant, but if you look at what we're collecting versus what we're paying out, if it weren't for the TIF money and the cleanup, we would be making money and not losing money. So, do we, I mean, it's one of those things.
We could bring it up to the meeting.
You know, if we weren't
See
paying,
what we
if we weren't
decide.
paying the bills we shouldn't be paying,
Yeah.
we would be making money in the sanitation, which we're not supposed to be, but
Well, you'd be able to invest in equipment, and then we could do our own sanitation. But without the equipment, we're basically endorsing one private firm over the other.
correct.
And then, let's see, what else did I see in this ordinance?
But to allow freedom of pickup, we're gonna have to completely do away with the ordinance and the tax roll, because
Yeah.
that allows the individuals to pick and choose who they use. And then we also need to make sure that when we repeal the ordinance, that it doesn't say in there that we have to have a licensed contractor, because, exactly, I'm on the same page, yeah.
Right.
Okay, and then on page 6, it says we can terminate service for non-payment and then require $50 advance deposit if we reinstate it. But the problem is, now it's a misdemeanor punishable by a fine of 500, of not more than 500 or 90 days in jail. Well, I thought we were gonna change all of our ordinances to civil infractions so
Yeah.
that it didn't have to go to court. But I just think the garbage has been a problem for over 30 years. I recall years ago, I was very unhappy when I said I would not use and I would not pay my garbage to Calumet County because it was less than the village.
Yeah.
They still made me pay. We had a mortgage, so when they transferred it to the county, our mortgage company paid it because they said we didn't have a right to create a lien against their property. So it was really socioeconomic discrimination because Mary Lewis didn't have a garbage or a mortgage. So when they put her garbage bill, they couldn't do a thing about it, you see? But ours, the company insisted it was paid, and at that very same time, there was a trustee who didn't have to pay at all because they were a favored trustee, and that was a little perk they were getting as a trustee. So
Yeah.
the garbage leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. My husband suggested we go to the store and we eat there and we leave all our garbage there. And we don't have to deal with it.
That's a lucky thing.
So, are we three thinking that maybe it would be a good idea to?
I think, and believe it or not, I'm not on the ordinance committee, I think there is, not only this one, there is a lot of them that plain and simply need to go away or repealed or completely redone that are 40 years old that don't make sense for us now.
That's right.
And garbage being at the top of the list.
Yeah.
But if you look at ordinance 86, okay, that was,
Did you want a copy of 86?
Yes.
the date of, that was September 8 of 1956.
Right.
Okay, if we were going to change this garbage ordinance, we should have passed an amendment to our original.
Okay,
one.
there's an amendment to
102.
132 as well.
Yeah, or we should have repealed it, so that this, 132 replaces 86, but they didn't say that. Our ordinances are a mess, but I don't think they should all be thrown out lightly, because I recall that we paid $10,000 for the zoning ordinance. So if they just say, we're gonna throw in all the ordinances and start over, it could cost us major dollars. So, I mean, this is that, no ashes, I mean.
Oh yeah, if you go down through, yeah.
And that,
I heard that.
but now, the fine was 100, and here it's 500. This is 30 days in jail, that's 90. So those are like the big differences. And it shall be the duty of the street commissioner. So I don't think Steve Kell is going around to collect the garbage anymore. So we no longer have a garbage truck, but we used to. Remember? In the village?
Not since I was at your mom's house.
No, this is back in the 50s.
No, I lived in the township then.
Yeah.
My parents did, I should say.
Well, when we walked to school, the garbage truck was going around with our,
Yeah.
so that's why, and then this resolution, see, that's why we need to know, when does a resolution have to have a public hearing? I thought anything that had fines, where we could fine the public, we should have a public hearing. And now we don't for the blight, and that troubles me, because if we enforce the blight, and the public never had a chance to say, we don't want to take this fine, we don't want you to adopt this ordinance, where's the public forum on that? And if our attorney says we don't have to, it's like everything I read, if you read that general law act, it sounds like we should. And I just as soon do it rather than try and enforce something that we didn't follow all the steps we should. And so we have an extra public hearing that we didn't need. That just shows that we're trying to be responsive to the public that elected us and wants us to serve their needs and give them a chance to talk. So we got 86, and we got 132, and we got a resolution, but it shouldn't be just a resolution, it's an amendment to ordinance 132. And that was in 2004. So,
Which was?
okay, so that we have 86 in 56. And then we have 132 in 92. And the ordinance in 2004. Now, these ordinances, if you look at the old books, we need to go through these ordinances. They should be signed by the president and the clerk. It should have the official notary, and why not attach the newspaper clipping, the date of publication? Because on some of those it says that the ordinance was published on blank date in this, and that sometimes the Daily Mining Gazette even sent an affidavit, to show that it was. So this is like, people did as little as possible. Okay, this isn't signed, but it doesn't matter, nobody's gonna look, and it doesn't, we don't have to read 86, let's just draft a new one and say it's part of that. And, how can we enforce anything if we didn't repeal this? And, one says that the fine is $100, the other said it's $500. So everything is like,
Well, it should have been,
repealed.
it should have been repealed when they did that.
Yeah, and then why a resolution, why not an amendment? Because all they were amending was to say they can change the amount they pay for garbage pickup without passing a new ordinance. That one says it's $10. The other one, it was just part of your tax bill, I believe.
Okay.
But then it comes to another thing. If we're paying 3 mills, and say I have a $10,000 house, 3 mills is 3/1000 of a penny. So I'm paying what, $3? And then if somebody has a $100,000 house, and then they're paying $300, or I have to multiply it out. I don't do numbers in my head, but no, 3 mills is different for each property and the valuation. And then with your monthly, most people can't figure out how much garbage costs them a year.
Yeah.
You just can't figure it out. And then because they don't bill and people get in arrears and nothing's been done, I think after a certain time they've lost the ability to enforce, don't you? I mean, you can't say 3 years ago you didn't pay.
I know.
So we've got to do due diligence. So now that we've discussed this, what's reasonable? I like the idea of when Virginia was a member of the public, she suggested put everything on the tax bill. And because if you look at the number of hours spent billing and stamps and paper and then fines and.
The only problem with the tax bill, Peggy, is it's gonna be a millage, and let's say your house is valued at 10,000, yours is at 100,000, you produce 1 bag of garbage, and you produce 50 bags of garbage, you're running into that.
Yeah, that's unfair. That's why I say let's get out of it. We don't have to think about it.
Simply get out of it.
I would,
Simply get out of it. Yeah.
I mean, if we do try to let everybody, I mean, maybe a new cottage industry, somebody who's got a truck and wants to earn money could say, I'll pick up your garbage for when I go to the transfer station.
There are some who do that.
And
Whether they're certified, I don't know, but there are some who do that. And especially for the elderly too, I know.
we have great unemployment up here, and I think that'd be
Yeah.
a win-win for everybody. Did you have anything that?
Yeah, I think you guys have pretty much nailed it down. The only question that you left remaining was what to do with the millage. And I actually think that this should be the first opportunity that we could cut taxes or improve services. The spring and summer cleanup, we did a really good job with this, but there's a ton that needs to be needs to be done. And we could leave the millages the way it is, and instead of using that money for profit, we could use that money for cleanup and getting some of these alleys cleaned up. You know, I mean, everything doesn't have to be about making money. You know, sometimes you spend a little bit, you might not get it back in cash, but you get it back in quality of life. You know.
well, if you do the math, Nate, and I looked at that, there's roughly $19,000 that comes in on that.
On the mills?
We could get a lot done.
19,000?
Okay, I don't know what the DDA would take out of that, but you're right, I think there's more than enough to do a substantial amount. If you look at what our spring and fall cleanup and bump that up a little bit,
Yeah.
I think that would totally cover that.
Right.
I just don't know the legalities of how
No, but I.
the taxes, how it was presented as to what it was for, in
No,
the
I-
village. It would definitely work.
I was told that millage is just for overall cleaning the town, and the
If that's
specific
what it is, I think
individual is
we're
at
good.
12 months.
That's
I'm
not-
not sure though.
It's not entirely true, Peggy. There's a fine line to walk there. So what you're putting the millage out there for is a service. So if you didn't collect any public trash at all, like through the spring and summer cleanup, the spring and summer cleanup and various maintenance of picking up public trash can
So
be
we got all the
justified. You could justify that.
I
But
mean-
if you just use the money to just clean alleys or just clean public parking lots or something like that, then it wouldn't be justifiable. So Jim, you're right. It's all in the wording, but we should be able to write an ordinance like that. You know, I mean, I really would like to say that I would love to write the ordinance, but I'm not. I'm not in the position to say that I can help you with that. But I would love to help you with that because it would take a weekend of cramming to write the ordinance. I mean, it's because we're going to make it. We would simplify things so much more. You know, the only other question that you have, all right, is now you repeal one ordinance, you reset the millage, which is probably a good idea because the way it is now, it probably won't pass referendum next election anyways, you know. But what do you do with all these people that have liens and all these people that should have had liens? Because you have people that have liens that we've tried to prosecute, and then you have people that we haven't tried to prosecute and we've left them alone. So is it fair to go after, say, like from today forward, they're going to be prosecuting me for a trash bill, and I'm going to be just like everybody else, but they're not going to be prosecuting others for the same trash bill? You know, how are we going to handle that? you know?
Well, I guess my question is, who's doing the enforcing?
I got a letter from him. I didn't bring it with me, Camp, but I got a letter. I mean, and I was hoping to get the letter because I like the idea of our ordinances being enforced.
Should I go and get a copy to see what Joe was saying to garbage users?
But I think this has been a good meeting. I'm glad because we made progress today. More progress has been made in 7 months. That's the first time I've heard agreement among the committee that we really should just repeal it. And it'd be a simple vote to repeal it. Replacing it will take a little more time.
Well, I think for starters, if our committee recommends that we get out of the billing, the collection, the trying to count apartment buildings and see how many users and just make that mess go away, and then what is the amount of millage that we need to clean up the town, you know, overall, that we should keep on our tax bill. And then we've got to go to the people at the next election. Otherwise, we're going to have to leave it in place until that time.
It has to go to the next election anyways, Peggy. If you leave it in place,
That's what she's saying.
it's going to the next election, next time.
Yeah. But I really have faith in our people that if you have garbage and you can't get rid of it, you'd ask your neighbor that's got a truck. You know, we're good people. The town wouldn't be in existence 100 years later if the garbage was piling up. We wouldn't be able to find it anymore. Okay, so how do we find out what the 3 mills, when it was put on the tax bill, what it specifically said it was used for? Because for it to pass the people, there's a ballot. And then if we saw that language, maybe we're using it for exactly what it should be. And we should just keep it in place.
Do you know, was that a temporary one, or was that the 3% tax, how was that, you don't have any statement or what that is on the, was that a reoccurring one, or is that a?
The millage, it recurs, it'll be up on this election coming up. That millage expires this election. I think they go,
I think it was like 5 years, wasn't it? A long time.
I'm not sure, but I'm almost with absolute certainty that it needs to be redone at this election. It needs to be voted on again, you know. I mean,
Thank
you know.
Do you know what the 3 mills that we have for garbage collection, was there an old ballot that says that we're using that 3 mills for cleaning up the town, or is it individual, or? I wonder if Mark.
It's in the ordinance. In the ordinance.
What is the
3 mills.
It is? Okay. Well, let's see. This is the letter.
86.
Dear so-and-so, pursuant to ordinance 132.
One in 1970 something.
You're being served notice that the amount shown on your account is not, if it's not paid in full within 20 days, your garbage service may be terminated.
No, it's not.
It may be. Well, if you're not paying and not using, that's what you want anyway. They may require the $50, that's true. Termination will not relieve you of the liability.
So that's where we go to court.
And then you're advised that unpaid fees shall constitute a lien on the property. That's why I was saying my mortgage company insisted that our garbage fees were paid. So my poor husband who brought our garbage out to our camp every week for over a year, we still have paid.
Right.
Okay.
And see, all I have to do when it goes to court is show that the other constituents aren't being enforced and I'm being enforced, and then it snowballs bad for the village.
Okay, nobody's going to court. We're going to try and get an equitable system. It says that you've been delinquent for 6 months.
$104.
Or more. And I thought, why not do something happy that says you've been delinquent for 9 months? We carried you longer than your mother did. And get people to pay up.
I was delinquent on purpose just to get this letter. I wanted this letter. I wanted the ordinance to be enforced, and
Okay,
Yeah.
but I thought, who's the enforcement officer of our ordinances? Is it the police chief or is it the office or whoever does?
Say the administrator.
In this, for garbage, the bills he sends out, he's responsible for it, and anything that's like, on the streets or in the town, that'd be the chief?
only 2 people under the General Village Law Act are allowed to enforce the ordinances of this village, and that is President Dave Geisler and the Chief of Police. Nobody else. Joe can send out letters, but he can't enforce them.
Okay. See, I didn't, even
I
ordinance,
100% agree with that, but most of our ordinances are written wrong because they have names of positions
That don't
that we
exist.
don't have, they don't exist as enforcers.
Yeah.
Yeah, every ordinance I read mucks the waters
We've
up.
got a lot of work to do.
I 100%, and the more we dig, the deeper, the worse it
Yeah.
gets.
Well, maybe we should stop digging so much and take care of what we find right now on the surface, which I think you guys are going in that direction. But you guys, time flies. You know, time flies. There'll be all new people in here in a couple of years.
but you
know.
see, it said Village Citizens Advisory Committee means 3 village residents appointed at the pleasure of the village board without term whose purpose is to give non-binding advice. Well, I never heard of that. So,
Which ordinance is that?
that's the 132, that they're saying they're enforcing that. Well,
Yeah.
if they said they want to talk to the citizens, where are we going to find those people?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and this, the fee is $25 instead of 50.
What's it time for a drink?
This is 132 here.
Yep. So the fees are different, but if that one is not repealed, then somebody could say,
They're
well,
all messed up because we shouldn't have this old stuff if it's all corrected.
It's
It
talking
should
about
be-
section, it's talking about section 4, not section 2. We see section 4 here.
Yeah, I think it's hasn't been straightened out.
I know, but I think it's
Yeah.
tragic when you think of the
Yeah.
dollars we spent for
Oh,
someone to take care of our documents, and they haven't been taken care of. Oh, I'm gonna grab the ordinance book. Because when you look at that, you want to see, do you have the ordinance book about the sidewalks? Remember about walking the sidewalk? Did you have time to look that up? Well, no, I just thought, no. It would be great if I found everything before. Where is that? Oh, I thought you were on drugs. Yeah, I read one that says you can't walk the sidewalk, that's the one that. Oh. Yeah, well, we don't need it now, but we need it for the next. Yeah, okay. I thought you were on drugs. Ah, it's a pretty expensive penicillin I need. Ah. Okay. So, he's looking to see about that, the ordinance that says you can't block a sidewalk, because this is something we also
Yeah, that's another one.
could bring to
Yeah.
them, because what's the penalty? Is it misdemeanor? Is there an ordinance that conflicts with another ordinance, you know? It's like,
Well, there's more than them that are blocking the sidewalk.
like,
Up on,
Which block? Pine, Eighth,
No,
Elm, Portland.
Elm,
Elm?
along Elm Street, it's blocked. In the next block from my house. Dirt tile in the middle of this torn sidewalk there. People gotta walk out in the road.
See, we gotta,
People gotta walk out in the road because of that dirt there.
if somebody gets hit by a car because they're walking in the street because our sidewalks are blocked, then,
The alleyway was blocked up until recently too, but I mean the fire lane,
yeah,
and that shouldn't be blocked.
we gotta keep our fire lanes, all the alleys should be open,
Yeah, sidewalk should be clear and they're not.
and
It should be in repair enough to nobody falls. So homeowner's responsible if somebody breaks their leg on the sidewalk.
in front of their house,
Oh, you
What
got
if the
it.
sidewalk
You
is
got
blocked late and the people have
You
to
got
walk
it.
out in the road?
They have to walk out in the road if they can't walk on the sidewalk.
It's dangerous because it's a public sidewalk.
It's dangerous to walk across a sidewalk that's not there.
I think,
But there should
You
be a
could fall
sidewalk
down,
there.
you could fall down anywhere.
There should be a sidewalk there. and
Accidents can
it's
happen.
dirt.
no, but if
Yeah, accidents can happen. but
As a
if I walk
municipality,
traffic, that's not good.
know that the sidewalks aren't repaired,
Yeah.
and it's our job to tell the property owner, we're going to repair it and bill you.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's our job, and if we don't, and somebody has a bad fall, and it's very clear that nobody at the village fixed it, nobody, the property owner didn't, then the question is, how do you spell co-defendant? It's not just the property owner, it's the village as well. So we want to keep everybody safe, that's,
Yeah, all sidewalks should be barrier free.
Yeah. and all the alleys open, because the fire trucks gotta go all around.
Not only the fire trucks, but the utility men when they're putting in gas lines and.
And we need
whatnot.
trustees that are looking out for the public, because when John Burton was on the council, he got that nice part of his alley closed off for him, so he could go from one part of his building to the other on Fifth Street, you know? And so that stuff's gotta stop. You can't tell a trustee, well, you can block that and you can even build,
Yeah.
so you don't have to go outside. So, yeah, I can see why people are disgruntled about lots. Okay, but this is a mess that we inherited. We didn't create it,
You know?
but we feel like we can clean it up, because you don't have to make the mess to clean it up. So,
If we're allowed to use our minds.
yes, we will. So,
Well, there was, I had highlighted on my copy at home, I don't see it in here, but it was inferring, it doesn't, I mean, right now, I think the village itself is not complying to ordinance 132, I think, because it says that we're responsible for trash, not a
absolutely.
subcontractor, which I think right there,
Yeah.
we're getting the gate.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to tell you
I don't
guys,
see the wording that I was looking for, so yes.
there is a sense of urgency to get this done, because when we do go to court, you know, whoever goes to court, whether it's me or somebody else, when they win, the village will be responsible for those court costs, and lawyers are expensive, you know, and is it a fight that the village wants to take on to try to enforce another ordinance, or take that bold step and encourage the council to repeal and replace? Repeal with immediate effect and forgiveness, because if you don't forgive everybody and start anew, then you're letting off the hook the hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue over the last 10 years. Well, I'd say go back 20 years to get to that number. Go back 20 years to get to that number, but it's in the tens of thousands of dollars that everybody owes that hasn't been paying, not just one or two.
And what's really complicating matters is we have seasonal residents, and they come and they use in the summer, but they, as soon as they say they're leaving, then they don't have to pay. And that's not what the ordinance says. And it's just like, I don't know if any of you read the newspaper the other night where UPCO is going to raise their rates.
Yeah.
Why? Because so many haven't paid their bills, so they're raising it on the good people that are being responsible and paying their bills. That's wrong. And when it said we're paying the highest electrical in the country, and they want more money, so that's why we gotta get our finances under control and not just go back to the taxpayer and say, we want more too, because we're not managing things correctly. Yeah, so if we suggest that we repeal all the ordinances pertaining to garbage, because this wasn't repealed when it was replaced and the amendment wasn't added, that it's not enforceable the way it is anyway. That we just think we should get out of the garbage business.
Yeah.
And we'll check on what the 3 mills does and what we're allowed to do and what, I mean, I think there's enough cleanup in this overall town for the good of the community to use those 3 mills for a while.
Yeah.
And if the street department is doing the sanitation and that, or do we want to buy a garbage truck or a new liner and have
You could save toward that.
our village do the cleanup? Because it says we're doing it. I don't. I think the days of an individual picking up garbage, it's a problem because we have the combustibles and we have the ones that have to be sorted and the plastics
It's changed. You can't put everything in garbage.
and the township, it doesn't look any dirtier than the village, does it?
We still
And they don't
separate
provide.
all our garbage.
Do you?
Our papers, our plastics, our household garbage, our yard stuff, we separate it all, take care of it individually, pay extra, it's not free anymore, but we pay for all our paper, break down our boxes, that is free when you break them down. But others, Bob believes in recycling, we don't just put it in the garbage, he doesn't believe in that.
See, I burn everything at the
Yeah.
camp. I don't think we can burn in town, can we?
No, you're not supposed to. I know in Speedtown we did for a while, but then nobody was really cracked down on it, but it's not a good healthy thing, because I could smell some bad garbage when it's burned. I got a good sniffer.
So is there anything else we need to talk about? Because,
I think just,
Well, what I've got here is we need, you obviously Peggy's talking about the fair pricing for all users, one way or the other.
yeah,
Looking at repealing both the amendment 132, 132, and 86 ordinances. What is actually the millage? We doing that? Who's
you know,
enforcing?
who'd be able to address that would be Debbie Aubin
Okay.
at the township, because she was the village treasurer and she came and talked when it was going on the ballot.
if you
Collect
could
that.
ask her.
I'll talk to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the enforcement, we have to let her on that.
Did
What
you
actually
notice
the repeal?
your first?
Basically make a recommendation, we're gonna explore the option of getting out of the trash business, which I
Yeah.
think is probably gonna be a viable option, or completely redo the ordinances.
One or the other, Jim.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm thinking.
yeah, I believe in it too.
Well, we can't repeal all the ordinances.
No, I'm saying,
Yes.
yeah, 86 needs to go away, 132 needs to be completely updated, and the amendment, or done away with and rewritten.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if we do away with the service, then we can get rid of the ordinances, and if they find that people are leaving trash all over, then they need to write a new one anyway.
Well, we have the blight ordinance in place now,
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
take care of
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that's in the,
But the Michigan Municipal League, they give us sample ordinances. I think there's to your book. Can you look at sample garbage ordinance?
in here?
Yeah, in the back, they give samples. So I mean, it isn't all that big of a deal anymore, coming up with an
It's
ordinance.
even easier because now you're not writing an ordinance for garbage. All you're writing is the millage to allow you to collect public garbage twice a year and throughout the year.
Garbage?
Not
Yeah.
garbage set out on the curb, but
92.
those 2 or 3
Does it say
cleanups.
sample ordinances?
But
We can just-
so I'll make a note here is we're gonna recommend redoing the ordinance
General fund.
Define that.
to include in the millage the spring and fall cleanup.
right,
Under sample.
and Steve, I mean, Jim, you really should get a copy of the old millage. And
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
if we got a copy of the old millage and we sat down at a table and blacked out the parts that don't apply,
The ordinance.
and then filled in the other, in a couple hours work, and, and then go to the website to check it on Nextlaw, to see if it's, I really don't think writing these ordinances is beyond us. I really think it's a lot easier than it is to talk about, but,
Well, there's so many available out there to look at, and all it said, all you do is tweak them slightly and you're done.
right, just, in this case, so, I think if you looked up garbage ordinances, you would be looking for the wrong thing, because we're no longer going to do garbage. We would be looking to do the millage for our spring and fall cleanup. And if there's any conflict with repealing the ordinance, which I believe there will be conflict repealing the ordinance because of the millage, because the millage doesn't expire for another 18 months, may have to.
So basically for recommendation for reading an ordinance within the millage would be for a public trash, meaning the trash cans, because we should include that, as well as the spring and fall.
Spring and fall. Yeah, I think, that's just that gray area. That's, we have to look at case law.
But the trick with that is I know we got like the trash receptacles downtown, out in Agassiz and all that, which Steve picks up.
Mhm.
That should actually be under the sanitation.
Yeah,
And let him
exactly.
build the sanitation for
Right.
those and spring
Oh,
flow
sure.
versus taking it out of his. I
Didn't they
understand
have to paint
the whole-
those trash cans too? I mean, that'd be legitimate expense for that.
I know it's a shell game of who's taking what money from where,
Right.
but
Right, but there is a need. I mean, I didn't spend much time picking up trash, and if I had a couple more trailers and a couple more volunteers, they'd still be picking up that pile out there. I mean, it's amazing how much trash really is in the village. And it's not because one person's filthy or dirty, it's because they inherited that person's trash. I mean, my house in particular, the people that have lived in my house over the years have buried their garbage, put it under the house, put it in the basement. I've been hauling off trailer loads for years out of my house, and, the pack rat I am, I'll probably keep on hauling trailers loads off. But I'm just now getting to the point where all the old stuff is gone. But there's many, like the one property that we started cleaning over here, we pulled 2 trailer loads out of. And, that stuff, it wasn't the people that own it now, they inherited that house. That stuff's been there for 20 years, and so the spring and fall cleanup is something that we really, I wasn't happy with how things weren't organized enough to save money, but I was really happy that it was done, because in the whole time that I've lived here, I haven't seen anything remotely like a spring and fall cleanup. I mean, remotely. I mean, there's just so many ways we could improve on what we're doing to save money, to really make it work.
I think you're right. In the past, the spring and fall cleanup was kind of, you didn't see it, and this one was opened up to anybody to bring their stuff in, which I think is the way it should be.
Right.
And I like the way Main Street worked together, and they turned it into a fun day, from
Right.
what I was told. You were working, and you were,
If-
everybody in this room but me.
Well, if we would have been a little more organized with Main Street and kind of blocked everybody off and say, this group of people, you go here, this group of people, you go here. Like I said, if I had all I had was a bunch of kids. I had one big guy,
Find something?
and
Yeah, like number 33, but this is where it talks about the sidewalk then.
No person building shall without permission. Without permission, do what? Let's see. Bottom of page 112, the first one, last paragraph of section 2.
Yeah.
Without permission of the council, obstruct or cause to be obstructed any gutter or sidewalk, or more than 10 feet of the carriageway of said street in front of the lot owned by such person or persons, or on which he or they are building, and every 24 hours that such unauthorized obstruction shall continue. Ooh, 24 hours?
Plus, you're supposed to have a light over the top of it at night too.
over the sidewalk,
Shall
Yeah,
be deemed a
obstruction, yeah.
separate
Over the obstruction.
violation.
Yeah.
over the obstruction.
Yeah.
Wow. But this was approved in 1897.
Right.
So,
No, but it's still in effect though. It's still in
Yes.
effect. And so that gives you guys a little bit of leverage when it comes to enforcing things. And that's what I want to see. You know, if I get a letter on my door because I'm doing something wrong, I'm not going to get mad because I'm going to smile because I know the ordinances are going to be enforced. You know, I'm going to also make sure that they're enforced everywhere around, you know.
Will
And it,
you address it?
huh?
Will you address it?
Excuse me?
Will
Sure.
you address it if you know you're in the?
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. I've been working on my
I'm not
property.
saying just you,
Yeah.
Nate, but I mean, others should be too. It shouldn't be
Oh,
just you.
without a doubt. I'm one of the worst violators right now. Well, maybe not right now, but I was in the past one of the worst violators of the blight. But everybody, if you look around, everybody that's got an idea what's going on are making efforts. Some people don't even know.
yeah. He might give me
Anything else?
a new updated one, because I was wondering which properties the village owns and which ones the DDA owns.
Yeah, right.
And the lot next to Bucko's is village owned, but why, when the village accepts property, does it go into the DDA?
I think that
Ownership.
I think that's so confusing because we're losing stuff that the DDA is gaining.
Well, why are we
You know,
paying
I don't understand.
$150 a month
I
for
don't
Joe to
understand
take
that.
time away from the village business and do their business, and then we're even paying them?
Yeah, I
So we're-
agree,
it's like-
double.
Double dipping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
We
It is.
have this 3 o'clock, we got a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Another meeting coming up, but,
Yeah,
All right.
I think that we've at least come up with what the problem is, that the ordinances aren't clear, they're not, some portions are out of date, and
we've
they,
got to scramble.
I mean, even when you repeal an ordinance, you're supposed to stamp repealed and keep it in the book. You don't discard it. That's why we can't find where things are. I gotta ask where that box is that had ordinances in the village office. It's gone out of the office. But some of the ordinances were in there. It was a whole box of ordinances.
Out in the hallway?
It was in the village office,
Yeah.
and the box is not, I think he might have put it in that office over there. But we gotta guard that stuff.